This tutorial will analyze the Cornell note-taking method and steps for implementing this active learning strategy into your classroom. There are a variety of note-taking styles. No single method suits all students. However, many successful students and business people have found that the Cornell note-taking system is very effective for lectures or reading that is organized around clearly defined topics, subtopics, and supporting details. The Cornell system is both a note-taking and study system. The Cornell note-taking system is characterized by two features, one being the division of the note-taking page into 3 sections, with each section corresponding to a specific purpose. The second being the refinement of notes through a series of reflective questions from unorganized and discrete units of information to an integrated system of meaning. Cornell notes are broken up into 3 sections. Section 1 is used for note-taking. Students should ensure that these notes are concise and that they are not simply writing down exactly what their teacher says, but instead summarizing the most important concepts into their own words. This helps ensure that they are deeply thinking about the topic. Section 2 is the cue column, where students make sense of their notes. This section is used to connect main ideas and concepts. This can include any questions from the lesson or any vocabulary or equations that are relevant to the lesson. Section 3 is where students summarize their learning to be used for reviewing and reciting key information. Cornell note-taking happens in 6 steps. Step 1 is to record. During the lecture, record notes in the main note-taking column. Listen for meaningful information, connecting that information to knowledge that has already been acquired. Think about the way in which this new information connects to existing knowledge. Step 2 is to reduce. As soon after the lecture as possible, review the notes looking for keywords or phrases that might summarize them. In the cue column, attempt to categorize the ideas in the notes by theme or concept. Summarizing requires you to organize ideas into meaningful units and creates links between individual ideas. This process facilitates active learning because students must interact with the information in a meaningful way, and it increases the number of retrieval cues, which increases the number of ways in which information can be retrieved from memory. Step 3 is to recite. Covering the notes in the note-taking column and using only the retrieval cues from the cue column, attempt to recall as much information from the note-taking column as possible. Try to phrase the information in a way that seems natural rather than stating the exact phrases. The purpose is not to memorize the material, but to develop a deeper understanding of it. Verify that the information is correct. In addition to encouraging a more active approach to note-taking, this process will facilitate the transfer of information to long-term memory. Step 4 is to reflect. Reflective students continually label and index their experiences and ideas, put them into structures, outlines, summaries, and frames of reference. They rearrange and file them. Unless ideas are placed in categories, unless they are taken up from time to time for re-examination, they will become inert and may be soon forgotten. Step 5 is to summarize. Within 24 hours of recording the notes, use the summary section at the bottom of the page to create a short summary of the page. In creating the summary, a student might ask, what are the main ideas? How does this information connect to previous lectures? Why does this information matter? What exam questions might be taken from this material? This question requires a student to practice metacognition, thinking about the emphasis an instructor has placed on certain ideas. Step 6 is to review. Before each lecture, quickly review notes from the previous lecture. This process will serve to consolidate information in the long-term memory. It will also provide a context for new information. Every week, set aside time to review notes, using the same method as you use during the recite stage of the process to test retention. The Cornell note-taking system allows students to learn while taking notes by facilitating the development of connections between ideas and by increasing the frequency of exposure to information. The Cornell note-taking system also encourages students to return to new information within 24 hours, thereby increasing the likelihood that the information will be consolidated into long-term memory. The use of the Cornell note-taking method is itself a form of active learning. Rather than simply transcribing notes, students are obliged to reflect upon the information and categorize it.